Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Untamed Leader podcast. My guest today is Charlie Sheppard. Charlie is the founder of the Human Presence Institute and president of Sheppard Partners. Over the past 4 decades, he's partnered with more than 50 organizations, helping executives and teams develop the presence, influence, and communication that drive genuine change. There's more. And we'll let the rest of his story unfold as he shares his journey today. Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you, Lori. It's fun to be here.
I like to dive right in. And my first question for you is, where did your leadership journey first begin?
I think if I go to the actual first journey, well, I can go back even further. A lot of what I was trained in leadership actually happened in the Boy Scouts, right? Being a patrol leader, a senior patrol leader, going through the whole Eagle Scout, you had an opportunity to make choices, whether it was a first aid event or a competition about tying knots. And so a lot of leadership showed up there. Even with that as a background as a kid, I was put into a management role very early. I was working at Burroughs Corporation, and they moved me into a advanced track as a manager, and I was woefully unprepared. Right, there was this, and when I moved from Burroughs Corporation to Wang Laboratories, I had even more people reporting to me, and I actually felt kind of like a fraud almost, and that sent me down a particular discovery path of exploring different disciplines, and part of which I was able to meet John Grinder with neurolinguistic programming, and I was one of those business people that went into that environment. And so the whole idea of the technology that they created about modeling what other people were doing, I went, oh, I want to go model leaders. Right. And then that became a career, and then I became a professor of leadership. And so the idea of not having what I would call innate characteristics of a leader, even though I got some great training in scouting and other things, I think there was some genuine insecurities and fraud inside of myself that had me go down the path of actually learning what it takes. And in putting that into myself, I went, oh gosh, this would be really valuable for other individuals.
And when you were woefully unprepared, how did you know? How would someone who's listening and might actually be facing the same situation, how would they know from your experience?
I think it comes from whether it was a level of insecurity. Like, I was confident in what I knew about computer science at the time. I was confident in the ability to do the job. I wasn't confident in helping other people do the job. And so, and I don't think I had the language. So part of it was, even if I was leading others, my attention was still on myself. I didn't know how to grow or develop other individuals in the wide variety of capabilities. So I think there was a bit of insecurity around being called a manager, having not really had the training and the discipline to do that well. So, but you're getting to a different, the question you're asking though is, how did I know? And I don't think it was just insecurity. I think it was in the conversations when I was leading others, I didn't feel that innate ability to, one, either be inspirational, two, create a compelling vision. It was more like I was mental versus operating from a place of kind of automatic knowing. And so I felt the gap, right? So feeling where you just go, I don't measure up. And I'd seen leaders that were exceptional at it.
Yeah. And I'm hearing there's a difference between knowing how to do a thing yourself, which you trusted your expertise at, and helping others to do it. Kind of if you know how to fish, teach a man how to fish, and that's a completely different thing.
Different characteristic.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is in my study of neurolinguistic programming, because they were so good at building models, whether it was they built models of Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, they built models of Fritz Perls and Gestalt psychology. I went, oh, this is a model making tool. I'm going to go model what it is to be a great negotiator. I'm going to go model what it is to be a great leader. And in doing that, it actually made me a great educator.
And do you have a story of your own that kind of connects part of the model? Like, can you tell the listeners a
So
story
many
to bring
times,
that to
just
life?
because you create the model doesn't mean that you're not ever in the drama triangle, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just did one the other day. And it's the curriculum's called Leadership as a Choice. And so I took my son and stepson. They're home from college up skiing. They kind of ganged up with both their mom and dad and got them to take them skiing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it was very well executed by both of these two boys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an avid snow skier, love it, slightly addicted to it. I raced in college. I was on the National Ski Patrol. So and by the way, this is just a recent story. So
Mm-hmm.
I get up early in the morning. It had snowed. There was beautiful snow outside. It was a sunny day. This was perfect. We're at a trailside condo. I'm up, but I'm also there because I want to spend time with these two boys
Mm-hmm.
and I want to be with them. And they are moving they're a teenager, even though they're not. They're moving slow. So I ski on out. I'm in the trail. I know that there's fresh powder. And I know that I want to ski with them, and I stay stuck and frustrated, right?
Mm.
So I went into not choosing. I'm mad at them. I'm mad at myself because I want to ski with them, but I want to go off and go skiing in the powder, and I get frozen in inaction. And
Mm.
then I just started to get frustrated. So all of this is because I abdicated choosing.
Mm-hmm.
And I clearly said, I want to ski with the boys. Doesn't matter what the conditions are. I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to go enjoy the conditions and I'll catch up with the boys later, right? What I did was neither. And in
Mm-hmm.
doing neither, I put myself into an energy state that's classic drama triangle. And so whether it's been in my past of having a conversation with somebody that, for me, one of my areas of wanting to support the climate change movement, I had a conversation with somebody who was a climate change denier, and I didn't have a compelling vision for what we could do around climate, why it matters, and everything else. So, and it felt too big for me to even influence, right? So I'm down in the victim role because I don't have a vision for what I want to do around climate change. and and by the way, if you don't have a compelling vision about where you want to take something, you're likely to just all I did is create more drama with this individual. I didn't have a compelling
Mm-hmm.
argument. I didn't have anything. I got frustrated. So again,
Mm-hmm.
those types of patterns, my definition of drama, are you putting energy into the environment or taking energy out of the environment? And so in both cases, whether it was not something as simple as not skiing, with these two boys, or something as complex as can we actually get 8 billion people to care more about climate?
Mm-hmm.
In either case, not having a compelling vision about where you want to go gives you a more of a sense of getting trapped inside of the drama triangle patterns, which are again are adversary or rescue or victim. And so,
Yeah.
is your energy low? You're
Mm-hmm.
likely in the drama triangle.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of the things that it feels like we may have in common is that one of the elements of being a leader is that you have a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I would add, for something to be different in your world or the world. And if we don't have that vision, being trapped in the drama is almost like you cannot change things from the energy that created it.
Correct.
World says this is the box, no climate change. And we can be trapped in it, banging our head on the wall, or we can develop a vision for what could be possible instead of what's here now. I know what mine are. What else? What is the rest of your definition of what a leader actually is?
Yeah. So first off, my best definition are you putting positive energy into the environment? So that's just number one. Are people inspired when you walk into the room? And so the skill sets that go into that are, you can create a compelling vision, which we've already talked about. It's also about growing and developing yourself and others and really having it. So the function of leadership is to create more leaders. So you've got to be able to grow yourself. You've got to be able to grow others along those lines. But then you don't get to stay a leader very long if you make poor choices. So it's shown over and over again that a group will make better decisions than an individual. It's just kind of fact. And so doing that, though, is complex, right? It's very hard to make a high quality decision with 40 people unless you're a catalyst and you can actually map out the ways of people operating together well, efficiently. And now it's gotten even more complex because so much of what we're having to do is to apply those tools inside of a virtual environment. So I don't care who you are right now, getting your virtual skills of facilitating to be a catalyst inside of a virtual environment is exponential.
Yeah. One of the things that has to happen, I believe, as a leader is that we keep growing. So you grow to a level, you integrate it, and then there's kind of the next growth or shedding of a skin. This is the Untamed Leader show, and I'm curious what the phrase untamed leader sparks in you.
I don't know. Untamed. Potentially, if it's untamed, it gets to a little bit more raw, or I don't have a strong mental map for untamed. So maybe I'd ask you if that's your, give me a little bit more of a definition, and I'll go down the rabbit hole of what I think of along those lines. But nothing's coming up other than having it be more of an unedited version.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely part of it. It fell into my head intuitively. So I put a lot of stock in things like the Einstein quote, intuition is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. And we're raised in a society that has a lot of spoken and unspoken rules for how we're supposed to show up. And in my own life and business coaching others, I've come across, I wouldn't even use the word leader for a long time there because there's so much wounding around the leaders, big air quotes if you're listening, that a lot of people didn't want to be one of those dominating type of leaders. And then even when people go, hey, I'm feeling called to lead something, they might be subject to hidden shoulds. My first coach ever just would call them the shoulds. You think there's a way that you should show up or that you have to. And in order to lead, we have to have a kind of permission to break out of those rules in order to create what comes next. And when I looked at a lot of the speaking and leadership programs that are kind of the big ones in our world that everyone knows of, they were created in different waves of the Industrial Revolution. They were teaching people how to say the same thing, gesture the same way, wear the same things, to do everything the same on factory floors. And our schools are creating people taking in information and just regurgitating it back, rather than actually grappling with it and making things their own. So there's a whole host of things that go into Untamed. And part of it is freedom.
Yep.
letting go of all the rules.
There's a quote that I was introduced to early on, and I don't know where I had the hubris, but I started my consulting company when I was 26. So part of that was examining what you could and couldn't do, and uh, I had a great line. So as you're saying this, untamed comes from me from a place of John Grinder actually said, if there's something you can't do, then you must do it. Right. So that it kind of was a useful mantra for me for a while of breaking apart whatever my limitations were along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Where have you caught yourself noticing a should or a taming and letting it go throughout your life?
So uh, I, I I think there's an examination of so many societal programmings that are in place that and I think that adage of if you can't then you must, I would just sit there and there was a period of time when I just unpacked all of it around as I went, is this my choice or is this a societal thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that's from me or is this from my parents? Right? My dad used to say he had a fear of heights and you get sweaty palms watching something on television where somebody was at heights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I ended up having that same, who knows when that got installed, but I would see something. And so then I went, okay, is this me or is this somebody else? And then, so I ended up bungee jumping for a while, right? So I could get to the edge. I could go, okay, I'm actually safe. I've got these cords, what do I do? The first leap off, I had to overcome a lot of, I had to overcome a lot of things. And the same thing with hang gliding or paragliding. And so I think that there were parts of my life where I had to go, is this how I want to run and live my life, or do I want to do it in a different way?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, unpacking it, I think that was, okay, I have a fear of heights. I'm going to go actually overcome the fear of heights. And so it doesn't matter what it is. I, I like approaching the edge of something that feels uncomfortable, and then I get it comfortable. I get a little bit bored with it after I get it comfortable. So I'm infinitely curious, I think, and
Yeah.
I'll go down anything, even sourdough bread. I almost gave it up. It was so funny. I was not mastering sourdough bread, and I was almost giving it up. And my brother-in-law said, "This is the best bread I've ever tasted." And so then I'm off to the races again. And a little bit
Yeah.
of feedback is a useful
Yeah.
inspiration to kind of go, oh, I'm going to keep going down this a little bit more.
Yeah. There's so much in that. Throughout the time you've been talking, the word choice, which you started with, and it comes back around, there's that saying, growth begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Mm.
And I hear that in everything you're saying. And it's like you get curious, you get to the point where you have full choice. So you bungee jumped, you learned to speak in keynotes in front of thousands, and then had the full choice. This isn't my preferred place. I can do it.
Yeah.
I don't choose to. And the choice not being one that was created by a conditioning like a fear of heights or a fear of speaking in front of thousands.
Yeah.
And then the sourdough bread. What I love about that story is sometimes when we are growing and transforming and changing, we're still focused on the what else could be. And we're seeing I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. And then someone comes along and says, you're so busy looking at what you haven't done yet. You haven't noticed that the sourdough bread is actually good. You haven't noticed that the sourdough bread has actually improved because you're not noticing the whole picture, which is a gift of leaders, to keep looking at what could be and keep going for it. And sometimes it makes us want to give up making the sourdough bread because we're not noticing how much it has already improved.
It's fun. I, you know, I'm never worried about what I'm going to be curious about next because there will be something.
Yeah. One of the things that I love that you are modeling in Untamed Leadership is, one of the shoulds that's out there is you should do one thing.
No,
What are you doing?
I know.
And I
I'm the
work with,
opposite.
yeah, I work with a lot of people who have multiple ideas, multiple passions, and all of the ideas and passions and different things that you're doing that you're sharing today are mission driven.
Yeah.
There's something greater than you and your pocketbook, though you may have made millions of dollars. There's something greater than you or your pocketbook that is driving you to do them, to create them, to pass them on in service of calling other leaders forth in many cases or solving a problem in the world. If people are leaning in and wanting to learn even more about you, this will be in the show notes. What's the best way for people to seek you out and go deeper with you?
If you're interested in the Human Presence Institute, I would go to humanpresence.org. That's our nonprofit, and it's a way of conveying this information to a larger group of people. My day job is the sheppardpartners.com.
Perfect. And now it's time to slide into our Pivo pivot.
Excellent.
Charlie,
Yeah.
what is your favorite word?
Love. It has it does everything that you want it to do in a single word.
What is your least favorite word?
This one's my least favorite word is diarrhea. I don't know what it is. It's just like you said, what's your least favorite word? It's just because anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Thank
listeners, but if I'm doing the pivot correctly, it was the first word that came up. You asked the question, you got the answer.
I did. All right. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, and emotionally?
It's all a function of connection. It's whether it's another human being, whether it's nature, whether it's the planet overall. It's having the direct sensory experience that's not abstract or mental of connection.
What turns you off?
I think people's unconscious energy drains. There are people that, and they don't know how to do it, and I'm not hired. But if somebody is actually sucking energy out of the environment, then I've got to put up more defenses than I want.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite cuss word?
So I'm working at not cussing because I have team members where that doesn't work for them. So what I'll usually, it's interesting because I don't say it anymore, but I'll just say F, right? But the sound energy is the same, but I'm not saying the full word as an edit for myself.
Nice. What sound or noise do you love?
There's a place that I know that I've been camping at since I was 5 years old. And when I get there, and then when the afternoon blows the trees, the wind in the trees in the afternoon in this location has a sound that is soothing for me. It's a place and a location, but the sound actually, the sound brings me back to thousands of memories there.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I don't use the word hate, but there is a sound energy that somebody can do that if I don't put up the defenses, I'll feel it in my body. And usually it's somebody from way down in the drama triangle.
Mm-hmm. And Charlie, what do you hope people say about you on your 100th birthday?
Hello.
Thank you so much. I will say hello. And Goodbye. Thank you so much for being a guest here today.
Thank you, Laurie.
Yeah. And if you are listening, please do all the things. If you enjoyed this conversation, please review it, share it with a friend who might like it, and come back and listen to the next one.